5, Silver Scrapes in Berlin. It does not get more tense than this as Unicorns of Love look into Heretics and just charge in as a horse. And they get another one. It is game point for both teams. And look at Noah. Look at this depression. I love it. We're one game away from this one, guys. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Noah, join us.
As you can see, my co-peers is hyped. At least one of them. The other one, I'd say you're going through the motions, definitely getting it. I, for one, just feel like everything's going according to plan. As I said, it was going to be a 3-2 for Heretics, so it's shaping up to be it. So, yeah.
So let's talk about what happened in this game. Noah, I need your opinion.
You know, this is worse because it was so close, but now I feel it so far. And I hate this feeling. I hate it. They made me believe.
You know what's really cool? I suffered the same way as you did. Let's talk about this one. To me, it was really important in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I mean, this dive is what, you know, breaks the game. I really think Heretics misstepped a bit here, which allowed Unicorns Love Sex Edition to rotate towards the bottom lane and get those kills on Viktor. Ruby is very dangerous on this kind of things. You can't allow him to be comfortable in the victory. It happened in the first game, and they were lucky to be able to manage it, but this time it didn't happen.
Yeah, and this one was so baffling to me, because like Heretics did not have any ultimates up whatsoever. Yeah. And they just kept going in for an engage because like one member overstepped, but even then, you traded one kill and then the rest of your team just died. And it felt like, I understand their logic, because they have a Kalista. When you have a Kalista, you have to just pull the trigger from the get-go and move forward. But after the dive where you said that Unicorns of Love, you know, that great adaptation and shut it down, it became really hard for Heretics to play. And I think they just kept sending it because they might not have any other things to go for.
Goldberg, I'm going to use your IQ, your high IQ on this one, because I know people on chat are saying like, oh, he only got a few kills on the bot side.
No, mine not.
Okay. It's really important to look into why was this so important for Viktor, because he upgraded his E with those kill participations. And what does that mean when the Viktor has the advantage over the Kalista, which was one of the winning conditions?
I mean, it just goes down to the fundamentals of the champion, right? You take the ideal Kalista scenario, which is she's very short range, whereas Viktor, Viktor is like an arm, and then you take an extra arm on that, right? And so it's like really long range. So you have this like small lady carry that's trying to pilot this team fight. She's trying to walk up, she's trying to give it an auto attack, and you just have a Viktor that's like 100 Teemos away, making sure you can never step up. So your main carry of Unicorns of Love got super fed, and it pairs really nicely into the fact you're playing against an opponent whose carry is a Kalista that's like very average range to play for. So I really think from a drafting point of view, I mean, Unicorns of Love, we're super happy about this situation.
So far it has been either you get Ruby online or you get the AD carry that invented the irrigated position at this point, right, Noah?
It looks like that. I mean, it's a Ruby versus Jackspektra, even though we had several players popping up, like Zwyroo, for example, also Lurox as well. But yeah, absolutely, I agree with Goldberg. Laser beams beat spears.
Evolution.
I think this and the glorious evolution gap, we could say, we could put it that way. But what I like from Unicorns of Love Sex Edition in this match is that they took a risky gamble in the draft. They decided not to ban those aggressive AD carries and to split them. For me, it's going to be Lucian. For you, it's going to be the Kalista. They decided they are not that worried about Jackspektra, about banning away Jackspektra. They took a risky gamble and they won.
Yeah. So let's look into the top side, because we have a specific clip allowing us to see how this advantage actually translates into this one.
Oh,
well,
no,
that is me being tech.
Wow, look at that move.
Okay, no. Can we put it again? Can we put it again? Can we put it again? Please put it again. This is exactly what the game showed, okay? So before the Munchables, before that specific one, that showcases the Viktor Kalista. I was Kalista, thinking I had the advantage on the matchup, and here comes Viktor with the evolution, and just slaps me in the face. This is what you brought up?
I didn't look like Viktor.
Did you know this was
more
like
Kalista? This is more like Vi, I would say. If Viktor goes that melee, he's playing back. Absolutely. I mean, you know, but Ami's play was made here. Just said the words.
Oh, actually, yeah.
You're on timeout. I still like you. You're on timeout. I hear we do have some B-roll about some Viktor and team fights as well, right? Is that true? Because I don't know if I want to see you get smashed as well. And yes, lo and behold, it is there. You still take your break over there, young man.
Okay.
But as the fight plans out, you can see that it becomes incredibly difficult for them to pilot. And this is exactly what you're talking about here. Jackspektra's trying to team fight, but he's not dealing out damage, right? And then the team fight continues, and it's Jackspektra's dead. So what do you do? Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, I mean, it's not only Viktor, but you're gonna be snowballed by the Ornn, by everyone that is paying attention to you. You are a Kalista that wasn't able to snowball, and you're paying your price in here. You're not able to snowball into the game, and you're not that powerful. While Viktor is scaling and scaling and scaling and scaling. I kind of don't like Viktor because he's this kind of control mate that is gonna clear waves in the mid lane, not allowing you to touch the tower in that lane, and then he's gonna smash your team fights, and you can see it in the damage. In the first game, Ruby played Viktor. He ended up losing, but the damage was stunning, and it's happening again.
At this moment, yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, from all the post-game breakdowns we've seen so far, it's never really been close. It's quite often one team running away with it, which kind of just speaks to some of the stylistic of the teams here as well. If you get ahead in the early game and you run away with it in the mid game, you win the game. That's how the series has been so far. And also this thing, like looking at the picks, like Nocturne, while they're not doing a lot of damage this game, just the fact that Paranoia is available to scatter off the team fights makes it even more difficult for Kalista to pilot them as well. So going into next game, where you have Jackspektra, who's been your main win condition as well, I think you need to make sure that he's more comfortable as well. Luckily, this time around, Heretics has chosen blue side, which I think is no surprise, really. We
expected, yeah.
But in the end, you need to be making the adaptations now. Unicorns of Love, as you said, they took a risk. They were the ones who just say, we're going to leave open all the AD carries. What do you want? And then it didn't pan out. But Lucian, I think, is the big one of this series. Exactly. He's the one with the 100% win rate after the games we have so far. And I think he needs to be the priority, either for Heretics to pick or from the side of Unicorns of Love to ban.
We're about to jump into game, everyone. So I want to listen from you guys. Who's going to take it? Heretics, blue side. Unicorns of Love, red side. Goldberg, give me your last prediction.
I mean, it's easy. You just you said the reason. Blue side Heretics. I already said 3-2 already. So yeah, 3-2 Heretics. We stick with it.
Noah, this is your opportunity to back up Superliga. It's your chance.
Okay, look at me. You made me believe once again, and I hate you because you're gonna break my heart. But I really think Heretics is gonna win 3-2. And if you break my heart, you're gonna feel the consequences.
Oh boy, and I know the consequences. I felt them on that tackle before as I was Kalista. Ladies and gentlemen, it's do or die for both teams. Whoever wins this one will go into semi-finals. We'll face off LFL, the dark horse of the tournament. It's do or die. So it's up to you, casters, to bring the best game possible at the Amazon European Masters. So without further ado, Jamada Monchables, how are you doing?
Thank you very much, Archer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we're here. It's Monchables. It's Jamada. We're ready for game number... Sorry, Hamada. Is that... Am I doing that right? I don't know. My Spanish, not excellent, I'll have to admit. But I tell you what, Heretics in gameplay is fantastic. And the Unicorns managed to come back in game number 4. We go to 5 games. We go to 1 final draft. And Unicorns resetting the draft in game number 4, it's fair to say, removing the AD carry bans and changing their style, and it felt like it worked beautifully for them. And now Heretics have to come back once again with a new attempt, and I feel like that has been the story of this series, going back and forth.
Yeah, and also I think, like Goldberg was saying as well, not only the back and forth, but it feels like Lucian seems to be the champion to have if you want to win the series. So let's see what the teams are going to do in draft. Because look, you don't need anything else. Apparently, it's just Lucian, right?
Well, you do need the Nami.
Well, you do need the Nami. That's true. So I guess my big question is: are Unicorns going to ban it? And if it's not banned, are Heretics going to just first pick it? Which, spoiler alert, the answer is probably yes. So I'm expecting the ban to come out there. I wonder how hard of a reset we have again, potentially. Right? It's a game 5 at the end of the day, and I feel like game 5s are normally where the drafts change most violently. To be honest with you, violence maybe not the best word to use, but most aggressively. There you go. In the sense of
plenty of violence.
We
in
have
the studio. We don't need it in the drafting.
Yeah, we don't need it in the drafting. But yeah, so you know, do things like the Aphelios go through again, the Draven as well. That has actually been 100% banned, I believe, even when the bans swapped up a little bit as well. So is this something that's going to show face finally? I think these are the kind of questions that we have to be asking for a game 5. How much comfort really is allowed on either side? Things
like the Azir as well, that have been 100% ban rate. Things like the Sivir, 100% ban rate. Well, let's get it. That's going to stay. Heretics not interested in the Sivir themselves and certainly don't want to give it over to Shiganari, as that'll be the first ban. The Azir has been a consistent ban from Heretics as well, but that Lucian we talked about removed off of the table.
Exactly. Red side, they just don't want to deal with it. It's had 100% win rate so far this series. It feels like Lucian Nami is just a little bit too oppressive. If it's not in the lane, it's the mid-game team fights. And I mean, honestly, you hear Orcs talk... Rest in peace, brother Orcs. He's not dead, he's just not here. You hear Orcs talk about it a lot. It's not actually the laning phase. It's usually the mandate Gale Force spike or the rapid fire cannon Gale Force with that mandate spike that comes in. We've seen how much range either Shiganari or Jackspektra have been able to effectively close between them and their target to just assassinate them off the rift. And not here anymore for Game 5 finally. His presence still technically 100%, just not 100% on the rift.
Yeah.
Vi, gone. Trundle, gone. Makes a lot of sense. We've been seeing that consistently remove the way since about Game 2.
Yeah, we'll see if it's going to be the 4 jungle bans again, like we saw in Game number 4. Apparently not. Aphelios taken away, despite the fact that that was really one of the picks that Jackspektra has been leaning on, and certainly in this series we saw him play it. But Shiganari's had a fair bit of presence on it across the course of the split as well. Poppy, a jungler that at the very start of this series was present and will be banned once again by the Unicorns.
Draven, yeah, Draven.
Okay.
All right, Draven, Game 5. I mean, it's the gauntlet throwdown, isn't it? And I mean, it's a bit of a Jackspektra special. He loves this champion too.
Yeah.
Heretics saying, all right, we are going to go the whole, you know what we did with Kalista? We're going to do it again, but we're going to do it with Draven, and this time we're going to stick it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Look, it's game number 5. This is where you have to throw down and prove who you are. Ruby gonna do the same. We get a signature champion for Jackspektra in the Draven. We get a signature champion for Ruby on that Azir. This is a pick he has been playing for over 5 years professionally at this point, and it is absolutely beautiful to witness.
And now what AD do we get? Because of the Draven there, Kalista kind of like falls off as an option. You have a couple of the other sort of fringe AD still available if you want to go towards them. Zeri maybe if you want to try and survive the lane and scale up. For now, they're not going to go towards either. I was thinking maybe the Sejuani, but with the Wukong getting locked in, this now means on the side of Heretics, you might want to take this one away, because if you have to deal with Sejuani, Wukong on the top side, that's a very solid 2v2 with engaged team fighting options. You already have a lot of peel coming from the Azir and scaling. All of a sudden, this Draven pick is going to have a lot to have to deal with in these team fights. At the very least, though, Heretics toying with the idea of picking up the Viktor into Ruby on his Azir, and they will do just that, and they still need to go for their jungler, probably in this rotation.
I will say the Akali can be very good against an Azir. Could be a Viktor top. I'll just throw it out there just in case. But yeah, jungler could very well be the call here to try and match that Wukong and have some kind of presence in the end of the game. Because if you don't pick a jump on now,
I feel like you have to take the Sedge, even though you might not necessarily want it. I think you have to just deny away the combination from the top side. I think it's been too high priority this series. I think it just makes too much sense as well. Now R3, I guess just, it has to be AD. The question is, what options does Shiganari really have into this? No, take it back. They want the full top side. So they're happy to have Shiganari's pool be pinched in favor of picking up the Ornn and securing scaling. All right, this is a very, you know, head-on decision from Unicorn saying, we don't necessarily care about AD pick because you've already got the Draven.
Yeah, I think that they're basically saying, like, look, ultimately, we're going to pick a scaling AD carry. You can ban some of them away, but we can always fall back on like a Jinx, a Xayah, like one of these AD carries that's just going to be able to scale up no matter what, right? Even if you ban a bunch, there are so many scaling AD carries that I guess Shiganari is comfortable. Leona taken off the board, so removing some of that aggression from the bottom side. Could ban a Nautilus if they want to keep running with that theme, but maybe take away something from that top side either to give this. I mean, you could ban the Aatrox, right, to try and stop Ibo just taking over.
Yeah, you could. Aatrox is definitely an option. I think the options are kind of not even too limited. I think Unicorns, having already sent one Leona ban, do you just ban the Nautilus yourself? Do you maybe even consider taking away banning the Braum, setting that up now? Maybe you force the ban out of Heretics as well. Save your AD to your last pick. I think these are all valuable options, to be honest with you. That seems to be what they're going to set up for. And also the Braum in general.
Profit.
Not only that, because the Braum has so much value already because the Ornn is there. The Ornn can always be shut down by the Braum. That's why I call this out. Heretics, I think maybe. Do you care? No, the answer seems to be no. They're just going to remove away the misfortune. Another champion, of course, Shiganari loves to lean on them with so many team fighting tools. A big bullet time over the top would have been kind of nasty. Varus is an old school 1-to-1 lane counter with Draven. And I'll talk about the matchup if it actually gets locked in. Kalista's still available. This is
a 1-to-1 lane countered by Draven.
I mean, if they want to do it, okay. Now, if they did it, I would have kind of been okay with it because they have counter pick on R5 for support, and that's what you always want from Kalista, even if the 1-to-1 might kind of suck in the AD department. If you have a winning support matchup, it can still kind of turn the tables. But like we said, Braum being banned away, it kind of sets up for Nautilus to not really have too many poor matchups anymore. Outside of the super weird picks, maybe something like Morgana comes out from whiteinn, but I don't really see it. I think you're looking for an aggressive support here. Sett. I mean, this is still technically a flex. We have to remember Sejuani as well could go into the jungle, Sett top, into the Ornn.
It's a flex until this pick.
Yeah, so let's kind of just hold our breath because Sett's not a champion we see too frequently anymore. He is very, very strong into what is a relatively short range composition outside of the Azir. The Aatrox kind of confirms that that's going to be Aatrox top, Sejuani jungle, and the Sett in the support role. And honestly, as an aggressive option consistently, hex flashing forward with so much sort of movement speed off all the runes and such, it's going to be really obnoxious to deal with. And it seems like Unicorns, they're toying with the idea of this Varus pick. Are they going to lock it in is the question. The AD pool has been pinched so much, and it seems like the answer is yes.
There it is. Shiganari goes for a Varus. This is a pick that has not been meta in years at this point.
It's been a while.
It has been a long old time.
We've seen it sort of rear its head recently every now and again. Mid lane, right? I think as an answer to Azir, the sort of AP hybrid build, Riftmaker.
That can be terrifying.
Yeah,
that can be absolutely terrifying.
That build's pretty scary, yeah.
I will say that whiteinn bringing out this Sett, he has played it once this split. It's not his first time playing Sett.
Did he win?
Can be good. He did win. 100% win rate. That's all I'm saying. Statistically, he's never lost. No, but can be good against all-in supports like the Nautilus. But I will say, Unicorns, plenty of ways to start a fight with this composition with an Ornn, a Wukong, and a Nautilus. They certainly have a gauge.
They really do. Both sides, to be honest with you, right? I think this has the potential to be a super explosive Game 5. I think either team could honestly end up rolling over each other. I mean, it's been the nature of the series, hasn't it? It feels like every game bar, Game 1 has been a stomp.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going into game number 5. And I'll be honest, with the way that some of these games went in the series, I didn't think we were going to make it this far. But here we are, and it's the Dark region versus Spain. Whoever can win this one will represent their region moving forward into the semi-finals to take on the 3 LFL teams that have remained in the bracket. And the Superliga versus the Prime League, seed 1 from both regions. This is the decider of who's the superior region.
And not only that, you know what, I'm going to say it, they also remain the final hope of the rest of Europe that isn't French. They are going to be the only non-French team. You know, if you're not rooting for an LFL team, you're rooting for one of these two teams here moving forward from the semis. And I mean, again, such huge gauntlet throwdowns from both sides, right? Seeing the Sett Draven lane of all things, seeing a Varus rear its head into this one. A lot of odd picks we don't get to see too frequently. A lot of very comfortable picks across the board as well on both sides let through. We always say Game 5 drafts, they evolve so much. And right now, it's evolved into a whole bunch of, honestly, madness.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it does feel like, for the side of Heretics, you know, this Sejuani and this Viktor have mostly been on the side of Lurox and Ruby in this series specifically, right? It's felt like Heretics have been forced to take picks away from Unicorns here, aside from that Draven, which they clearly wanted for themselves. They clearly went out of their way to find the Draven in the draft, and I'm keeping my eyes on Jackspektra. We know he's got the mechanics. We know he can pull this pick off, but it's down to how well the rest of the team play around him. Both junglers, though, starting on that top side with a view to pat down towards that bottom
lane. Look,
lane.
already there's fights going on. Shiganari's lost his cleanse, half his HP. Flash expended by whiteinn, and actually doesn't have Hex Flash.
So
by the HUD.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one. Usually do see Hex Flash on the Sett. So you mentioned earlier that Varus can be considered a counter to the Draven. So before the junglers get down here, talk me through how that works out.
So you can kind of outrange him just a touch. The Halo Varus as well plays a really big deal in sort of kind of slowing him down in his aggression moving forward. Obviously, you know, if he's got flash in the early levels, you can try and flash over it. But then if you blow your flash, you might be vulnerable. But then 1-to-1, as long as there's no junglers intervening, it doesn't really matter too much anymore. Early ward's going to get put down there. But yeah, then of course, because Draven's movement is so telegraphed with his axes, once you hit that level 6 mark as well, the opportunity to just kind of throw out a Chains of Corruption to shut him down very, very high. That's why you see Jackspektra's run the cleanse just to ensure that he doesn't get locked down by that one. But it's about effectively range and being able to poke out the Draven without really having to interact with him too much, which kind of makes this a pretty strong 1-to-1 lane counter to try and shut it down. Varus trading power, pretty high with those blighted stacks. You'd be very, very surprised. He just has to get them stacked up and actually proc them efficiently.
We'll see if Shiganari can pull it off in that bottom side. This 2v2 has been aggressive, but 1v1 has been pretty aggressive as well, as bluerzor wants to keep that going. Had his bottom lane moving in, but Lurox has already cleared those camps, so won't be able to find anything aside from a Scuttle Crab off the back of this invade.
Yeah, just the skull for now, will at the very least as well ensure that Jackspektra and whiteinn have an isolated 2v2 for the next little while. The Lurox is doing his best to try and force his way down into the river. He will be late to the Skull Crab at the very least, but still down here in case some kind of weird shenanigans ended up occurring. Level 3 hit by both bot lanes, and this is where things can really start to get explosive when whiteinn has all the movement speed from the Q.
Jamada, it feels so tense. It feels so tense. Lurox waiting in the brush, gets a hit onto bluerzor as Ruby desperate to shove this wave in, get it to bounce, get it to reset. Looks like he will be able to do so as Zwyroo trying to hold it just outside of tower range. He's got so little HP to work with, and here we go. Ruby tries to threaten, takes a tower shot for his trouble here. And I think it will just neutralize in the middle of the lane. Oh, Jamada, 0-0, 4 minutes in, but it feels so... You can cut the tension with a knife.
You really can. Ruby, psychopath movement. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
You know what? Game 5 doing that kind of stuff. I feel like if your team saw you do it.
That's the Rogue Warrior spirit right there. That's what that is, I'm telling you.
It really is. Now bluerzor, he's actually managed to slip his way down here. Remember, Shiganari, no cleanse.
This could be a massive face breaker. Pulls Winsome in, doesn't find the stun. Winsome has the anchor you'd expect. Might look to pull someone under the tower instead. Shiganari doing a good job to try and return some damage, and Jack getting pretty low on the play.
Yeah, you can kind of see Shiganari able to return a lot of damage onto Jackspektra. A little bit of a mechanical misplay, not so much of a heavy commitment as well from Heretics to actually lock down Winsome. Doesn't even end up using his flash in this exchange. That would have been, in my mind, the bare minimum. You're starting to see the annoyance of this lane 1-to-1, the outrange here, the poke coming through onto Jackspektra. Just can't really deal with it inside the lane. You have to just kind of send it. But whiteinn just doesn't have the movement speed or the range to do it.
Yeah, not quite. Shiganari does have flash if things should come to that, as Ruby returns to the lane and continues to put the pressure down. I mean, remember, this is Ruby's comfort pick. This is Ruby's pick. This is the pick that he's made his name on, so you can anticipate he knows how to play this matchup, especially since Viktor versus Azir is probably one of the most played matchups of the last sort of 3-4 years.
There's only one more played, Munch. Corky is here.
Yeah.
Hello, whiteinn.
All in on the bottom side. whiteinn has the shield, but can he survive the damage as Lurox comes under? And it's an easy first blood for the Unicorns. They make it look like child's play.
They really do. Just whiteinn trying to hold the wave. Shiganari and Winsome say, absolutely not. bluerzor gets involved in the action, gets himself an assist, but the first blood goes over to Shiganari. That's crucial in ensuring that he can keep an item parry with Jackspektra. One thing to note, has the lethal tempo, so looking to probably go an on-hit build. Now bluerzor looking at the mid lane, only go for a full-on play.
Oh, Ruby, good little dodge there. Does get stunned, actually, so bluerzor might be able to follow up, but the Chaos Storm just going to be used on the wave in the end. Zwyroo trying to push this one in, but Ruby will be able to clear this wave up. Shouldn't be under too much pressure, so surviving. Quite a lot expended there in the mid lane.
Yeah, quite a bit expended, but bluerzor still, you know, a lot of pressure comes in. Ibo get a pretty nice trade here. Won't go for the Q3. Really nice Bellows Breath to ensure that there's no drag back from the Infernal Chains. Now on the bottom side of the map, from the back of that mid lane play.
I mean, we talked about this in game number 4. All of the Drakes have been like post 10 minutes across the course of this series. Heretics, though, they know that they have strength in this bottom lane with Draven coming back to lane with a serrated Dirk. They know they can brute force this one and start to stack those Drakes early. It'll be Infernal for the second, so Jamada, you'll be happy to know it could be a Cloud Soul once more. Aatrox can use that. Sett can certainly use that. Maybe it could be good. We'll have to wait and see, though. But Heretics, crucially, starting with the neutral objectives. Once again, they've been doing this all series long, and they mean to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of in a similar vein to what you'd like to use Kalista for, Draven, same kind of deal. You really want to try and force all of these early objectives to come through. Really nice stuff. And again, kind of comes more off the mid lane play at the very least. So happy to see that they're going to get this early objective stacked up. Infernal, second dragon, Cloud, Smile. It's possible.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. We'll talk about it as and when. But so far, relatively quiet one here, with Heretics feeling like they have control of the map, at least for the time being. But realistically, when you look on the side of Unicorns, there is plenty of scaling to be talked about, right? You've got an Ornn, you've got an Azir, you've got an on-hit Varus. Yeah. This is not the lethality Varus that falls off that we've seen over the years. This is very much a scaling Varus. So, Scarface actually going to be forced to flash on the top side. That's a little all in from Ibo there off the back of his TP.
Yeah, I think maybe not too sure of where bluerzor could have been so...
Oh, no! He flashes that he misses the face breaker, pulled back in, big damage. So he does get a bit out from the haymaker, but now Jackspektra in trouble as well. If that was a level 6 Varus,
look how close
this game is over.
He's so close to level 6. If the Inferno Chains were there, death. Maybe even both of them. Jackspektra's flash cleanse, maybe. But now look towards that bottom side because so much attention is being drawn because of this trade. Ruby clearing a wall, potentially roaming down to the bottom side. Lurox pathing down, and Jackspektra respects this entirely. Uses the ultimate to clear the wave. A plate will go over to Shiganari at the very least, but still, trades going in favor of Unicorns, pulling out this very unorthodox counter 1-to-1, and right now it's working wonders.
And I love it. I love that they basically completely turned their draft around from earlier on in the series, removing those AD carry bans and basically just saying, look, Jack, you can play what you like. Shiganari will have an answer, and so far it has turned out to be true, certainly in game number 5, but just yet. It's a 1,000 gold lead for the Unicorns as the Heretics continue their neutral objective dominance in this series and look for the Herald. If they can get this down to the Draven, if they can get a Herald, get a couple of plates, maybe get some kills off the back of the play as well, that's where Heretics will really come alive.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing to note, even though the kill went over to Shiganari earlier on for the first blood, Jackspektra is still stacking. He hasn't died yet. So if they can also get that cash in relatively soon, right? You start to talk around 12 to 15 minute mark where ideally you want to try and get that cash in, advance Draven to that second iron mark so he can really take over the game. That could be a massive point of contention for Unicorns to have to deal with. So Heretics, let's keep our eyes on bluerzor to see where he wants to go with that Rift Herald.
See where he puts it. Jackspektra playing very safe here, and rightly so, because Winsome and Ruby, that sort of Korean NA duo, trying to move down to make things happen in the bottom side. They won't be able to do it. Just going to be a crash of the wave from Shiganari and a reset back to the mid lane here. And I feel like this is, you know, it's sort of inevitable, both for the way that the draft turned out, but also the fact that it's game 5 and whoever loses this one is out. You're not going to see coin flips. Just calculated play. Winsome and Lurox, though, they do get warded out. And that'll be the end of this play.
Yeah, I think that goes to show how cautious Heretics are being, though, just respecting the vision of bottom side of the map right now, because they just don't really have any. And Unicorns doing a really good job of just putting the pressure down.
I am loving watching Ruby play.
So am I.
This man has very little respect for his lane opponents. Just walking up, making sure he gets that tower plate, is sliding away again at the end there. Like, so often we've seen him go really far in, whiteinn pulled in. It does manage to find Shiganari here, but he gets out to safety. There's a chain of corruption as well. Big damage onto whiteinn. 1 or 2 times, but no, the resets! And Jackspektra finds the execute. Lurox next on the chopping block, but he will get over the wall here. Jackspektra, huge cash in, and suddenly things look good for Heretics.
He just had a 1k gold swing. He was down 700 gold, now he's up 300. The execute from the ultimate comes back through and rips Shiganari in half. The engage looks so good anyway. whiteinn manages to pull both Shiganari and Winsome in. It's just on the edge of the hitbox. At this point, just gets so chunked down low. It's the haymaker that actually ends up hitting him. 286 true damage, and then the pull back on the Draven ultimate. If he didn't get hit by the true damage portion, he would have just about squeaked out alive.
So close, and so well played by Jack as well. I actually said the wrong word there. It wasn't resets, obviously, it's very, but the recast, just getting it so the very edge of the ultimate hits Shiganari and returns to get that execution. Beautifully done there. And now Jackspektra getting close to his shield bow. Already has that serrated Dirk, but the Unicorns, off the back of the tempo here, getting back to base first, getting back on the map, means that they go 1 Drake apiece at Jamada. I can see the grin on your face already. It is a Cloud Soul once more.
I'm dancing. Cast can't see me, or the chat can't see me. I'm dancing. I'm happy. It's
I can confirm he's dancing.
And look, Cloud Soul, I'm not gonna sell out, right? I think sure, pretty nice on a couple of champions in this game, but realistically we have to just continue to focus on the plays. Herald actually gets dropped in the top side, perhaps happy with the cash in. Just want to get Ivo a little bit further ahead. Going towards the Gold Drinker build yet again, as opposed to anything like the Eclipse that we've been seeing with Black Cleaver. Of course, a lot of short-range champions, I'll say, so Gold Drinker procs should be relatively big. As bluerzor gets his red buff.
Okay, nice. A little bit of a bonus off the back of that top lane play. Gets 4 plates in the top side for his top laner. and then goes and gets a bonus red buff on top of it. Scarface just desperately trying to clear these waves. Aatrox does very well against this Ornn. It's a tough matchup for the Ornn. So Scarface doing a reasonable job just to maintain even CS.
Is doing a reasonable job? Jackspektra of taking away this blue buff. That's his now as mid lane. Ruby gets hit by the ult, but again, just kind of disengages, dashes away, nothing to really talk about.
Sejuani ult for harass.
Yeah.
She's trying to get pressure down and trying to maintain control, because I feel like that is going to be the nature of the rest of this game, right? Maintain river control, because it's fairly difficult to walk into these brushes. There's a lot of burst damage on both sides. There's a lot of ways to catch your opponent out if you can maintain that control first.
Exactly. And speaking of control, a little bit too tangent off the topic, I want to talk about how these team fights might end up playing out, how the composition want to play into each other, because I think we've got two relatively similar in style in terms of what they want to achieve, but they go about it in very different ways. I think for Unicorns, when I say that, it's two front-to-back team compositions where Unicorns have got more traditional frontliners, right? They've got an Ornn, they've got a Wukong to sort of buy lost space, and Shiganari and Ruby are going to just hit the first target that's in front of them. Whereas for champions like Viktor and champions like Draven, they want space to be bought for them, and I feel like champions like Sett, especially when there's an Ornn in the game, to always just ult backwards and reset a team fight, will always be able to do that, as now play onto the bottom side.
Shiganari's in big trouble here. The damage already coming on through. bluerzor just keeping this Varus in range and just slowly but surely chunked out. Jack gets another cash in. 201 on his signature Draven, and now time on the tower as well.
A little bit underneath that tower, and I mean, it's just easy pickings, right? Cleanse, I don't quite think was available, and if it was, it wouldn't have really achieved too much. Without the flash, he is just dead to right.
No hard CC.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Heretics really, really happy at the moment to just continually make these plays towards the bottom side. It feels like Unicorns feel a little bit suffocated, limited in terms of the options they can really look for. Maybe, but in my head, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I feel that they've not really been looking for anything too proactive in my mind. They've not been trying to pick off Zwyroo with things like Emperor's Divide. They've not been trying to go towards Ibo either on this Aatrox. Perhaps just feel like he's too tanky already with the Gore Drinker. I'm not going to say that the time is running out for them. Their comp scales exceptionally well.
Yeah.
It's just more that I'm very surprised that we haven't seen more, you know, attempts at some more aggression, because Heretics don't seem afraid at all.
No, Lurox the target here. Cyclone comes out. There's the double stun. Emperor's Divide over the tower. Look at that, but Lurox goes down anyway, and Ruby pulled back in. Flying around the rift, but Heretics find their men.
Wow, Heretics, what a turnaround. The Emperor's Divide looks so good from Ruby. And I mean, the only way that gets worse for Unicorns is that Draven ult threw right past everybody involved. And it didn't manage to catch a cash, and if it did, Jackspektra from downtown would have gone even further ahead. And now, off the back of that play, Rift Herald on the top side of the map. You can see Ibo forcing away Scarface. This play is having ramifications across the map. As we're going to go to a replay, I'm sure Ibo doesn't kill him, don't worry. As bluerzor just finds Lurox on the chicken camp, says, all right, I'm going to stack up my permafrost. First stun, doesn't manage to break it. Second ultimate comes through, and this Emperor's Divide looks so good, but look at the ultimate use here from whiteinn. Just drags Ruby, just taxis right from underneath the tower.
Yeah.
Easy as you like.
And Lurox is basically already dead, right?
Yeah.
So nothing needed to finish him off. He just happens to die in proximity of what's going on. Really great stuff from whiteinn, and this Sett pick from whiteinn as well. Like, not something we were expecting to see today. Not a pick that anyone was necessarily looking to the series saying, yeah, Sett's going to be a priority. Game 5 brings it out, and so far so good in these team fights. So far, managing to make it work, and we'll see if that can continue to be the story. But bluerzor stealing away the Sejuani.
Oh no. They don't know he's there. They don't know he's there. They don't know he's there.
whiteinn moving over. Ruby the target. Lurox does get his clone out to safety. Ibo on the front line here, and happy to be so. Scarface moves over. Wave is dying in the top side. It looks like Ibo going to move back over, but in the meantime, Jack is just farming away and making sure that he has bank to move into this mid-game with.
1.7k ahead of Shiganari right now. So much.
Just look across that scoreboard, right? 1.7k in the bottom lane, plus 800 for whiteinn, 1.2k in the jungle, 1.1k in the top lane. It's just Heretics all across the board.
It really is. I mean, Unicorns, again, still have the opportunity to try and take up some fights in the mid-game. This isn't one of the combat oppressive souls per se. In, you know, the Hextech Soul, the Infernal Mountain as well. Cloud Soul it's going to feel more oppressive if a kill comes through and the resets start to run in from Aibo. If Jackspektra is able to just run you down because he's pressed his R key, that's going to feel really bad. But until then, they can sit pretty. As long as they don't lose the Baron, as long as they can keep as many of their structures outside of their base alive as possible, which, as you can see, Heretics very aware of the situation.
And Heretics have been so good at taking multiple towers off the back of Heralds, right? So many times we've seen them take 2 towers, 3 towers, or at least 2 towers and get a charge onto the inhibitor, but won't happen this time. Jackspektra pressuring in the bottom side, so really great play. They do get multiple towers, not necessarily off the Herald charges, but off of the Herald pressure.
Yeah, I think Unicorns, they're going to look for a fight, though.
Aibo, the targets. Lurox goes in to get a little bit of damage down as well, but Aibo has sustained Scarface, a triple knock-up on the backside as Aibo surviving Nautilus taken down. And now the whirling blades in the middle of everything. Ruby gets the knockback. Jack in the middle of everyone, and he's taken down by Shiganari. The Unicorns find their footing in this game and get themselves a fight.
They find the fight. Heretics go for that tier 2. I think the chase down shouldn't amount to too much. Unicorns just about squeak through with this team fight win. They lose Lurox, sure, but Heretics, they don't back away immediately after taking this tower. You can see, kind of caught in this choke here. bluerzor, Aibo is the target. No one else is actually following up on the Aibo damage. And Scarface on the backline hits 3 members with Zwyroo. Jackspektra, they're not really participating in this team fight until very late into it. The AoE is massive, but once this Emperor's Divide comes through, Jackspektra is no longer actually even allowed to hit the front line that he just started hitting. And it's the gold that comes in onto Shiganari from this team fight, which is massive.
If I'm not mistaken there, if I saw that right, I'm pretty sure Jack managed to get a kill onto Lurox and catch in just a split second before Shiganari finished him. So still, you can see that massive gold lead in favor of Jack still, but a huge moment for the Unicorns because, like you said before, as long as they're not losing their entire base, they're still in this game. They've got scaling to work with, so if they can take fights like that and find advantages, it's fantastic news.
Yeah, and whilst it might not look like it, I really want to try and highlight Ruby for a second because I feel like he's actually been having a pretty solid sort of back end. Well, not the series, but this game in particular, he's been looking like he wants to get aggressive. I'm gonna have to cut that point short because Shiganari's in trouble.
Has to flash whiteinn behind him. That's a good base breaker. Call of the Forge got to protect him though. Shiganari survives. Ruby on the back line. And Jack is down. Lurox surviving as Shiganari does as well. And Zwyroo taken down by Scarface. It's a clean fight. 4 for nothing. And the Unicorns turn to Baron.
Unicorns, you've got to be kidding me. And it's at the 20-minute mark, dead on, so they can just take the Baron and off the back of it find so many towers that they haven't been able to take yet.
Azir is so fast to the Baron, and then you've got a Kraken Slayer Varus. Aibo has to 1v5 against his old team if he wants to deny the purple worm. No TP on Zwyroo. It's over. That's the Baron taken, and the Unicorns take control of the game.
They have clawed their way back in, kicking and screaming. And let's look at the initial engage because it's onto Shiganari, but there's just not enough follow-up immediately. And crucially, whiteinn can't actually use his armor because he doesn't bloody have it. And as they dive in, Jackspektra just gets the lead by Lurox, a little bit of Ruby damage as well. And at that point, everybody else is being minced by Unicorns, and none of the damage dealers could actually add anything for Heretics. Unicorns just found their miracle fight back in.
The Unicorns managing to find their fight. 2,000 gold down now, but with a Baron to shore up that gold deficit. And you can see the items coming through across the board. The upgraded Liandry's for Ruby with a Void Staff there. You can see 2.5 items for Shiganari. Once he gets to 3, just like any other crit AD carry, he's going to hit like a truck. No summoners for him, though. So the Unicorns do have to be cautious. If he gets caught, if Shiganari goes down, things get dicey.
I mean, even if they do, I feel like Ruby at the moment, as long as he doesn't go for too many, Emperor's Divide plays the shuffles, I think as long as he's able to put out damage, Unicorns might be all right as long as they can buy him the space. Yep. I think Heretics, again, it's just about target selection. They really do have to find these key carries and blow them up quickly. Or even if whiteinn can find the ultimate angle to immediately hit everybody using Scarface's body, that's the best they can look for. Lurox
does manage to get out of the Infernal Chains, and that means this mid lane tower goes down. Scarface with the Call of the Forge God goes wide on Zwyroo. That will be the end of the play. And I will say, it becomes difficult for Heretics if they can't find that engage right, because Azir and Varus, they're more than happy to just never fight and poke you away.
Yeah, exactly. They want to play at range in their front-to-back team fighting, whereas Heretics, they need the space to be provided by Aatrox, by Sejuani. Now this dragon's up in 10 seconds. Do Heretics really want to fight over this a Cloud Dragon during the Baron duration? I mean, it's so risky to lose it over one dragon 22 minutes in.
We've got to keep our eyes on the AD carries here. Jackspektra going down early on in that previous fight. Aibo trying to buy space, trying to keep Lurox marked here, but the control ward over gives Lurox a bit of space to try and move in, but spotted on another ward.
Yeah, Lurox is really looking for a flank angle. If he can actually set up for Unicorns to collapse, it'll be so good. Aibo, like you say, doing an amazing job at just bodyguarding him away to the side. I think Lurox might have to give up on this one sooner or later. Can see a lot of perseverance to kind of just stay there.
It's tense.
Oh,
it's
Heretics.
So tense.
They've started it though. It's actually been aggroed down to them. And you can see Ruby's looking for an angle here. Potentially, he's going all the way down. The issue is, do they have vision on it? I think I saw a ping from Heretics in the pit.
Ruby
No, he's there. Do they
in the
know he's
back
there?
of the pit here. Bit of poke comes down. 4K on the dragon, but it resets here. Lurox just using his clone. Aibo cautious, doesn't want to stay too far in and returns to the rest of his team here. It's the Super League versus the Prime League. It's game 5 and you can feel it as there we go. Engage onto whiteinn here. Pulls one out the backside of the boat. Shiganari down though. Aibo takes out his old teammates here as Jackspektra answered by Ruby. There's 2 carries on this team, but now Ruby caught by bluerzor. He escapes. Ruby on the Infernal Chains, but dashes to safety. Aibo trying to chase him down. Scarface as well on the top side of the play, chased by Zwyroo. The solo laners in a 2v2 across the map, but Ruby low on HP on the wrong side of the map. Can he get past the towers? Gets the Shurima shuffled to safety, and he might just somehow find his way out. There's a blast cone. He's got the Cloud Rift to work with. He's out of there.
No way does Ruby make out that one. I mean, the footnote of this
blue
fight.
buff. Why not?
Why not, right? I mean, the footnote of this fight is Heretics find the targets that they have to, right? They have to immediately blow up Ruby or Shiganari, and in this case, they managed to find the Varus. We'll get a look at it because there are so many things going on so many different fronts at the same time. So the front line here, immediately a lot of white damage comes in from whiteinn. bluerzor's ultimate goes on to Ruby and kind of stops the initial engage, but it's all about Aibo who finds the Varus so quickly. And at this point, you're just thinking, surely the fight is then done for Heretics. They should win this one out so easily. But Ruby finds his mark in Jackspektra and he's able to dash through so many members without dying. Aibo does his best, but the Infernal Chains just aren't there to drag him in. And eventually he makes his grand escape. And in the picture-in-picture, Heretics do come back to the dragon and pick it up. And they will be now at soul point.
And you mentioned something earlier, Jamada, that in the game we call League of Legends, so there's a strategy when there's a Cloud Soul on the table of allow it to go over and look for the Elder Dragon. We haven't seen an Elder Dragon all through this series, but it's game number 5. The winner of this game will be the only non-LFL representative in the semi-finals. They'll be holding the rest of Europe basically on their shoulders, and it could come down to an Elder Dragon. That would be truly something to behold. It's just 1,000 gold separating our 2 teams in the closest game of the series so far, and it feels like both teams still have everything to play for.
Yeah, I mean, the closest series we've had in cores, I feel, right? I think even the Dusty series, perhaps, came close, but I always felt like LDLC, towards the back end of the series in particular, were almost always going to win, though Dusty, of course, tried their best. Right now, though, it's on a knife's edge. It could really go either way. With Unicorns having such a hard scaling composition, 3 items now on the Varus, it just feels like every fight they take, they should have damage available to them. It's about whether or not, again, Heretics find ultimates from bluerzor onto Ruby, onto Shiganari, and whether or not the follow-up can actually come through.
This is the thing, right? It feels so much like how the fight starts is both teams diving at the enemy AD carry, right? Shiganari, does he have flash available? Yes. Jackspektra halfway through that cooldown. So the next fight, if it happens in the next couple of minutes, probably you'd favor the Unicorns. But then if those summoners do swap around, it's a different story.
Yeah, and I feel like Unicorns, if they get in front of the pit right now, on top of the Baron, they should just melt it, right? Azir, 2.5 items, maybe actually has a 3rd Ruby now as he resets. You'd have to imagine 3 items, upgraded Kraken Slayer, stopwatch. Crucially for Shiganari, just purchased. Let's see if Heretics are pressing the tab key. And actually Jackspektra on the opposite side has a stopwatch in tow as well. So both of these AD's carries kind of just recognize, if we get picked, our team is probably screwed in terms of damage. It's all up to Zwyroo and Ruby at that point, and we don't want to have to let it go to that.
No, but Ruby, so far in this game, seems happy to step up to the plate when that happens. The Emperor's Divide in that previous play, finding Jackspektra just about eking over the 1v1 against bluerzor as well. Feels like he is happy to be that carry, and it's kind of funny to think about when you came into this series, we were talking about how Ruby, not really the absolute carry player necessarily, more of a rock for the team to play around, and usually it's Shiganari to be the big carry, but maybe today is the moment for Ruby to step up to the plate.
Yeah, you know, and I want to just briefly talk about expectations from quarters in general.
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of saying this is probably a 3-0, 3-1 Unicorns. Unicorns just look really damn good. The one game that they dropped in groups just kind of looked like they were having fun. And Heretics maybe not meeting the expectations of the Spanish fans and maybe even outsiders as well. And as we've gone through every single series, each series that we thought would be a 3-0 has been a 5-game series, and every game that we thought would be a 5-game series has been a 3-0. And right now, Heretics Unicorns is up to that standard and the expectation, and it's just been so insane to watch.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure to see this, and especially when it's a game that has so much on its shoulders, like in terms of narrative, right? We talked about the fact that this is the two non-LFL regions remaining, right? It's Prime League versus Super League, it's the DACH region versus Spain, but then also it's Aibo versus his old team, right? I feel like there's so many different things to talk about. It had to go the distance. It had to be a bagger.
And not only that, you want to be known as the team if you can make it to finals and actually win. That was the team that broke the French dynasty in the ERLs.
I thought you were just going to end that. I broke the French then. I was like, whoa, aggressive, but I like it.
Only the French can break the French, according to the EU standard right now.
According to recent history, you're absolutely right. It has been the story of the LFL. I mean, we introed the first game today saying this is our reprieve from the Amazon LFL Masters. But here we go, the Unicorns starting things off. As you say, Shiganari, so much damage, and Ruby on the Azir. They burned through this and a TP forced. If the Unicorns can just walk away from this one, they'll be happy with that. But the Heretics want a Baron of their own. whiteinn pulled in. There's a good knock-up across the team there as well. whiteinn can't even get the haymaker out. Lurox comes in for the knock-ups. Winsome trying to escape with his life, but Ivo on the backside. Shiganari a 1v1 against an Aatrox. But in the meantime, Jackspektra's gone down as well. Scarface versus Zwyroo. There goes Shiganari. There goes Ruby. No, Ruby! How does he do it again? bluerzor trying to get him. He's gone. Will smack him with the flail. Takes him down. And the Heretics back in control.
They are back in control. They don't really have a big mid-wave to work with. They should probably just back off towards the Baron. Scarface, can he stop this? I feel like the answer is no. And Heretics, they kind of walk in on a bit of a robbery going on. The Baron's at 6k, it doesn't fully leash, but in the end, it's just the fight that ensues afterwards. And again, this is so many different fronts the team fights are happening on.
This is an extremely slow Baron, I will say. Lurox is up in 3 seconds. I don't think he can get to the Baron, but I think this should mean that the Cloud Drake goes the way of the Unicorns. This should deny the Soul.
Yeah, it should do at the very least. We'll see once we come out of the replay how the teams actually open back out onto the map. But again, this ultimate here from Scarface kind of keeps whiteinn in the air long enough. And I think because the Brill broke on the knockup, he stays so high, he can't actually recast his W. And look at this from Ivo on the backline. Delete Shiganari, forces Shiganari into the stopwatch as well. And at that point, again, no one is really defending the star prize of the Unicorns in this team fight, unfortunately. Scarface is on the top side to provide his ultimate. Ruby and co were elsewhere. And Heretics just pounce on every single party individually.
We get back and everybody's on the map. Drake was not taken in the end by the Unicorns. Oh, hook ever so slightly wide of bluerzor. If they could get a pick on the enemy jungler, that would be the dream for the Unicorns right now. 4,500 gold down. But we are starting to get to the point where that kind of gold is not the end of the world. This will be down to execution.
It is indeed. Heretics again. A lot of flashes not available. The dragon's being leashed. Heretics have a bit of a flank going on with Ivo. It will be a 50-50 unless bluerzor goes in.
It's going to be a bit of damage onto Ruby. Not really enough though, but it's dragon taken soul for the Heretics. Ivo in the middle. Everyone, look at the knockups. Ruby tries to save him, but there is no saving from Ivo. Taking out his own team and going insane while he does it. Ivo takes it for Heretics as they barrel towards the base.
Ivo against his old team says, screw the narrative. I don't care if you think Unicorns are the favorite team. He smashes their hopes and dreams of being the team that can move on to the semi-finals. The final member drops. Everyone's dead on Unicorns, and Heretics should be able to close this one out.
They might just do it. 20 seconds on Ruby, 20 seconds on Shiganari. They've got a massive wave, and I think they've got the damage. Ivo gets his hero moment against his old team, and finally makes it back to the semis for the first time since 2018. What a moment for Ivo. What a win for Heretics.
What a win for the Spanish region. When was the last time we could feel good about a Spanish team moving into the semis?
I want to see what Noah has to say about that one, honestly. I bet it thanks me that she's running across the room right now as I speak. She can't believe it. I can't believe how quickly that game ended as well.
I mean,
one huge fight.
One huge fight. It felt like all of these fights were so explosive in this game, though, right? So many cookie cutter moments between everybody. Everyone, you know what? This felt like a hands check game. And the only hands check game potentially that I feel like we've had this series. And like you said, it all comes down to Aibo on that flank. Unicorns weren't watching where the Aatrox was fully. They were focused on the dragon. Heretics had 4 members there. Where's the Aatrox? The answer is over the wall. And he just smashes them to pieces. And it felt like Aibo had a relatively quiet series. I think it's safe to say, I don't want to put him down. It was a quiet series, but he comes in and just wins the whole damn thing for his team.
Absolutely. And for the Superliga, it is over. And the Superliga champion, the first seed, comes out on top as Team Heretics takes down the Unicorns of Love in an epic best of 5. We will break down the series again for you, so stay tuned as we head into one last short break. Do not go anywhere.
From the black, climb to the top. Don't you see the signs? I ain't never gonna stop. From the black, climb to the top. Don't you see the signs? I ain't never gonna stop. From the black, dirt poor in the south. Wonder if the kid will ever make it out. And you know I'm from the black. All the odds static against, but it only makes it better when you win. And you know I think I got paranoia. My team win every quarter. Our Steph Cook made the order. I know pain leads the greatest. Endless my supply. I had to push, I had to cry. I had to look my demons right back in the eye. Out of anything I learned, I do know one thing. I know you have to lose it all if you gon' ever gain. I know that you don't quit the fight until the last frame. And if you ever make it out, remember where you came. From the black, climb to the top. Don't you see the signs? I ain't never gonna stop. From the black, climb to the top. Don't you see the signs? I ain't never gonna stop. From the black, dirt poor in the south. Wonder if the kid will ever make it out. And you know I'm from the black. All the odds static against, but it only makes it better when you win. And you know I'm from the black. Dirt poor in the south. Wonder if the kid will ever make it out. And you know I'm from the black. All the odds static against, but it only makes it better when you win. And you know I'm from the black. 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 Yeah. You know I'm coming to the top. Top. Ain't nobody gonna stop me. I ain't never gonna stop. Stop. Oh no. Stop. As you know I'm from the black. Black. Yeah. Black. Yeah. And I ain't never gonna stop. I'm from the black. And I ain't never gonna stop. I'm from the black. And I ain't never gonna stop. Top to the top, top to the top, top. Ain't nobody gonna, I ain't never gonna stop.
Yes! Let's go! We won! We won! We made it to the semifinals! Yes! Yes! We made it!
Welcome back to the Amazon. European Masters. Heretics takes down Unicorns of Love. As I need to hide my actual prediction. How are you feeling,
my prediction
Noah?
as well.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. Thank you very much. I'm so happy for the guys. They literally worked so hard to make it to semifinals. I'm so happy for them. Are you okay?
I'm okay. This actually is more troublesome
I'm
than I thought it would be. Let's talk about the last fight and the way they play. Look at this. Finally, the Draven is in.
Yeah, I actually was really surprised because the Draven was open for the last 2 games. And finally, they decided to go after that. It was a risky gamble once again. Because, I mean, Jackspektra's Draven was banned away all the time during Superliga Summer Split because of something. It had like a 60% or so percentage of showing up in the draft.
Yeah.
But it was all the time banned away. Because Jackspektra, whenever he picks the Draven, he gets like an average of 2.5K ahead at 15 minutes. It was not the case in this game. They struggled a lot, and it was because of some misplays in the early game. They took the risky gamble of going after Sett. This is a champion that wants to show up during the lane phase.
It's not on the late game. You were telling me that. He's supposed to show up on the laning phase, and he was not showing up. The nervous system for everyone on Superliga was going through the roof all of a sudden. And the idea is, you guys in Superliga always have a player that plays Draven. It's really funny to see, by the way.
True.
I'm just saying this. There's something happening as we finally see the pressure they brought in. And on the bot side. The bot side was really important for today. No, Noah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Heretics was focused on the bottom side of the map, but in this last game, I think it was like, you know, like a team effort more than a single player showing up. Because while Draven really did cash out at some point, and Heretics was like 6K gold ahead, they struggled. 2 moments, 2 team fights, they lost. And Unicorns of Love Sex Edition made it to just being 2K gold behind or so, and taking Baron Nashor. That was really, really close, and I really thought that Unicorns of Love Sex Edition was going to make it to the semifinals.
I'm going to ask you something, because at the beginning of the show, we were talking about the idea that Heretics are going to be on the LEC next split. This was their opportunity to show up.
Yeah.
And we were highlighting that Unicorns is a team that works as a team, while Heretics is kind of different. But today, it was the opposite.
Yeah, I kind of feel that in the side of Unicorns of Love Sex Edition, Ruby really stood out. And Ruby had the opportunity. I mean, he was really scary on this Azir pick. He had Zwyroo and Viktor in front of him, which I really know Zwyroo delivers every time he plays this champion. But honestly, on this 5th game, I really loved Aibo's performance. This was a really emotional game, in my opinion, because Aibo was facing Unicorns of Love Sex Edition, which was his team in Spring Split. In fact, Unicorns of Love Sex Edition was losing in this very same stage of the tournament versus K-Corp, even though it was a crazy series, honestly, and they even took the first game away from the French team. And I feel kind of sad because this is an organization, Unicorns of Love, I really like, and they fell in quarterfinals once again.
Well, it seems like we have to talk about MVP for today. Who do you think it is? Look me in the eyes and tell me, who do you think it is?
It's going to be Adam, for sure.
Adam?
Yeah, it's going to be Adam, for sure.
It has to be Adam, you guys know. No, the MVP for today, it is the AD carry, the Tom Cruise Jackspektra. He invented the AD carry position, so it's obviously...
Yeah, obviously he's going to get the MVP. Obviously. He invented the AD carry position. And I'm not diving into the Tom Cruise hunt, but it kind of felt like impossible mission to win this game at some point for Heretics, because I really think they got in some troubles by themselves in those fights that they lost. Messi trying to take the second tire in the bottom lane. Unicorns of Love Sex Edition really, really took those opportunities to make the most out of them. And here, perhaps Aibo went full the shy mode, honestly, on this Aatrox, and in the end, it paid off.
In the end, it paid off for Superliga. It was a long time since you guys made semi on the best of 5, and you can finally show up.
It's not that long ago, okay? It was last year's Spring Split. It's not that far.
And there you go, guys. The MVP for today, Jackspektra. Everybody was playing towards this one. As you were saying, it was Ruby from one side, Jack for the other one, and they were capable of getting the AD carry, even though there's a lot happening in the map. It seems like Heretics moves on into the next phase. We're talking about semis.
It's going to be rough.
It's going to be rough?
It's going to be rough. I mean, I think expectations on LDLC are a bit lower after the quarterfinals versus Dusty.
Okay.
But LDLC still is quite an amazing team, and it's going to be a rough one. So Heretics needs to, just chill, prepare for that semifinals, that best of 5. I really honestly think that if they could make it to the semifinals, they can win them.
Okay, interesting, because I
Now
want to
I'm
see
going
the
full
bracket
face.
right
I'm
now. I
going
want to
full face.
understand what's going to happen, because it was Goldberg telling me that LDLC is a team that rises up to the opponent. It's not about them showing up as, we are really strong. No, we are as strong as our opponent is right now.
Yeah.
As you look into this one, there's a Spanish flag. LDLC versus Heretics on the second semi-final. To begin with, it's going to be Game Wars versus BDSA. Tell me, Noah, your predictions for LFL versus LFL, because so far it seems only LFL is able to knock down LFL.
Yeah, they are the worst enemies, to put it some way.
Hey,
Only LFL is able to take
fight.
LFL down. Yeah, definitely. But I think it's going to be BDS Academy. I predicted that the winner from the Vitality B versus BDSA Academy was going to be my favorite to take the tournament. And I think it really is going to be BDSA Academy at least making it to the finals.
Okay. I'm going to stop you right there because I have information that someone is ready to join us in a conversation. I haven't talked with him in years, and I work with you. You beautiful man. Jeeves, welcome back. How you doing? I missed you so much, man.
It was such a long time ago, man.
It was.
It was.
You were the
Crazy.
caster with me. Oh, man, you're looking good. Look at that. How you doing, Jeeves? Now,
Thank you.
we were working as casters together back in the day, and then you went as a coach, and you joined Heretics. You guys are about to join the LEC. What does this game mean to you, this victory, Jeeves?
I mean, we're not thinking too much about LEC yet, of course, like behind the scenes, like the organization is preparing, but like right now we're just like really focused on EU Masters, of course. If we can get the narrative into at least like final for Heretics in the EU Masters going into LEC, of course, that would be pretty poggers, right? But yeah, we're just like really focused trying to push ourselves in order to get the best results possible. Really difficult opponent as well. I have a massive respect for Unicorns and Sheepy as a coach. So, and it was a banger series, absolutely. So I'm really happy with the victory. And I think also some beautiful League of Legends right now.
Jeeves, if I may ask you, you join in as a coach from second division, you join into the first division, a really tough road ahead of you. You made this team that they seem like they love playing in Heretics, and they showed up on stage. Tell me, what was your hardest moment so far as a coach in this team?
Oh, okay. Let me think about this. I think, it's probably the last week of regular season in LVP, because we had a lot of verbal fist fighting. Like besides scrims were not going well. We were not really on the same page. We were not really agreeing on like how to play the game at some point anymore. Or we still had like a similar vision, but we were not really on the same page when it came to like in-game calls or like how to play like the overall systems and playbook that we have, right? And we just like went down a dip. Like so far, the trend is we are completely running it down in scrims, but then BO5, and we then start smurfing again.
It seems like whenever you are losing scrims, you lose in officials. I love that segment, Noah.
Definitely. Hi, Jeeves. Congratulations for the victory. You almost, guys, gave me a heart attack. I have to say.
She did a cartwheel as soon as you guys won, by the way.
I think I lost some years of my life after the series as well. Don't worry.
I totally understand it. I wanted to ask you, because this is the first time you guys have to face a 5th game in the best of 5 series. You won versus Giants 3-0 in the winning semifinals, and you won versus Giants once again 3-1 in the finals. So how did you guys approach this 5th game after? How close was everything so far in this best of 5?
Yeah, because like a BO5 series, like I don't know, like oftentimes Danny just like there's something switches in his brain, and he's like a mastermind, like micromanaging like people around. So like our BO5 series generally are better, but in general we're kind of like a team that's like very momentum based. Generally, like when we take the first game, we can kind of like ramp up really hard and really fast and just like take the series away. But I felt like in this match, it was just like kind of like calm, cool, and collected, because like the games that we lost, we were just, I don't know, like we're just like misplaying. Like the aggression is good, the intention is good, but it's just like we're just oinking around, like somewhere on the rift, bit of monkey business or whatever. So we just like try to recollect. Like we make it clear. Okay, guys, let's not skip steps. Stick to the system. Play as a team, because the preparations overall into unicorns they are super solid as a unit, like playing as a team. They have individual players, and there's also like the individual players are not like super special. They're still good players, right? But they don't have like superstar players, I would say. And that's why I respect Sheepy so much as well, like because he's making these teams work so super well together that it's like they're so disciplined and consistent that it's like hard to, I think, beat them like in these official BO5s, right? So our approach and our mentality was what I said to the guys at the start of the match today. It's like, okay, good, look, guys, if we and unicorns are going to play a similar team game, we win, because we have more brute power, we play better vision game, better vision systems, and we'll just like slowly choke them out in that way. Because the games that we lost were just like micro mechanical misplays, and we still like some good cross maps. But like if you look at the games, like overall, like they're playing constant darkness, they're slowly getting choked out more and more. So it's just like getting that constant pressure on them. And the game 5 was like, okay, guys, I don't give a frick anymore. Right now, we're going to play freaking Heretics League of Legends, okay? I don't care what happens. This series has been amazing, like a back-to-back. Like, it's like a really cool League of Legends. I was like really enjoying this series, even though I was getting heart attacks as well. Yeah. I hope the audience had like the same, and you guys too. But now let's just like freaking play Heretics League of Legends and just... I almost want to swear, sorry. But that's really just like go in, just like all out.
I gotta make just go play. Just go play.
Just go play. Jivas, look into me now. This is an important one because you're facing LFL after this one. You are holding everyone else's banner because you're not the dark horse. You're facing LDLC. You've seen the matchup between them and Dusty. You know they have weaknesses, but they also know you have weaknesses as well. What do you expect from this matchup, and where do you think is going to be the hardest to tackle LDLC?
What the hardest part of LDLC is going to be to tackle?
Yeah.
Oh, like I would say they also play they play an incredibly strong like both they're both really good individual players, and they play strong vision game on top. So I would
Well, it seems like Jivas doesn't want to give that entire answer right now. He's thinking about it, and he's giving us the secret, so we had to remove it away. Jivas, thank you so much for the interview. It seems we kind of lost you there, but I'll talk to you soon. I hope so. I'll get all the secrets from you. So thank you so much. Congratulations on the victory, and congratulations on what is going to happen next. There you go. He's gone. Noah!
I like the word you use, how to tackle LDLC.
I mean, I was tackled today. So I'm learning by experience because Noah, you know, Superliga is really aggressive. That's what I learned today.
To put it some way, we kind of like to fist fight all the time.
I've noticed.
In Summoner's Rift, also in Twitter sometimes, but yeah, let's put it that way.
There's a reason why I'm not standing up right now. Just saying. Moving on, Noah.
Yeah.
It's going to be LDLC versus Heretics on the other side, Game Ward versus BDSA.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tell me who's going to win on both sides.
I said it was going to be a BDSA. I really think that they are like a very solid team. They have a lot of experience. Also, they play as a unit. And this is something Givas was highlighting about Unicorns of Love. We also did during the analyst desk. But it also happens with French teams. They all play super structured. At least the French teams that we have here in the European Masters so far. They are so scary, honestly. The LFL is in a whole different level. I am really happy that we made it to semifinals. It didn't happen since, spring from last year where Wukong had to face in a best of 3. It was still a best of 3 versus K-Corp. Now it's Heretics versus LDLC again. Spanish champion versus the favorite to win the tournament because LDLC came twice as the favorite. So I'm really going to stop the black magic and going full ham for the Heretics guys. I really think they're going to make it to the finals.
So you think Heretics is going to make finals?
Yeah. It's going to be, my finals are going to be the group stage partners. BDSA versus Heretics.
Oh, she's starting to believe. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying
gonna
this.
Suffer.
Well, that's it for today, everyone. I really enjoyed this one. But make sure you tune in next week on Wednesday for the first semi-final. Thank you, everyone, for your support, for you being there, everyone that supports League of Legends and the Amazon European Masters. This is it. Don't skip a beat. Keep climbing the mountain, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye!